Lesson 5-1, Example 2. Our objective is learning to find the least common multiple of a group of numbers. So there's several different methods to find the least common multiple, the LCM, of a group of numbers. Here we have numbers 4, 5, and 8. And one of the methods is just to list them out. So we can write 4, 5, and 8. And I'm just going to start listing out the multiples of each of those numbers. So 4 times 1, 4. 4 times 2, 8. 4 times 3, 12. 4 times 4, 16. 4 times 5, 20. 4 times 6 is 24. 4 times 7, 4 times 8. 4 times 9. 4 times 10. I'm just going to stop there for a moment because I'm running out of page. So 5, let's go through. 5 times 1 is 5. 5 times 2, 5 times 3, 5 times 4, 5 times 5, 5 times 6, 5 times 7. And notice I'm looking up here, I'm looking here, comparing some of these multiples. Well, there is a multiple that 4 and 5 have in common. So we could say, if we were just looking at those two numbers, a common multiple of both 4 and 5 is 20, and it's the first one where those two lists overlap. So we could say the lowest common multiple of 4 and 5 is 20. But we still have another number. We have 8. So let's start doing 8 here. 8 times 1 is 8, times 2, times 3, times 4, times 5. I'm going to stop there for a second and see, well, 8 is common between 4 and 8, but not in 5. 16, no, 24, 4 and 8 again, but not 5. 32, 4 and 8 again, but not 5. 40 shows up, and if I keep going on my 5 list, I'm going to go back up here and keep adding some multiples, because 5 times 8 is 40. And here we have one that overlaps in all three lists. And it's the first number where it overlaps in all three of those lists. So we can say that the LCM of 4, 5, and 8 is 40. Let's take a look at another method. We could also use a number line to help us out there. And let's say we're looking at the numbers 3 and 4. So I'm just going to draw myself out a number line. I'm going to start it with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11, 12, 13. Just going to label those there real quick. And I could keep going out further, but let me see first if this is going to be enough. So I'm going to start with 3, and here's where 3 times 1 is. And I'm going to jump to 3 times 2, which is 6, and then 3 times 3, which is 9, and then 3 times 4, which is 12. And I could keep going out, but my number line doesn't go out that far yet, so I'm going to look at the 4s here. And 4 times 1 is 4. And 4 times 2 is 8. And so far, let's see, these two numbers do not overlap. These numbers don't overlap. But 4 times 3 lands on 12. And 12 is also the same point that 3 landed on. So at this point right here, this number 12 is the first time we have both of those 3 and 4 landing on. So we could say that the least common multiple of 3 and 4 is 12. So we can use that number line to show those jumpings, and where they overlap, those are common multiples. Another way to look at this is to use prime factorization. So here we have 6 and 20. And I'm going to list out the prime factorization for both of those. Well, for 6, it's 2 times 3. And for 20, it is 2 times 2 times 5. Well, if I look at each of those, I'm going to rewrite this here so they're lining up so that only 2 and 2, 2, 3, and 5. So that if the 2's line up, and keeping that in common, there's only 1 2 there that doesn't match up with another one, the 3 doesn't match up, and the 5. So I'm going to pull one number out of each of these. So 2, a 2, a 3, and a 5. And if I multiply those together, 2 times 2 is 4, 4 times 5 is 20, and 20 times 3 is 60. I can say that the lowest common multiple of 6 and 20 is 60. Because they have a 2 in common, I'm pulling that out. So that's a 2 that they have in common. This 2 would be one that they don't have in common, so there's only one. I'm only pulling a 1 out of here, then a 2, then a 3, and then a 5. So you're coming up with with the lowest common multiple of both of those. Let's take a look at another one just to see that again. Here we have 4, 6, and 15. So the prime factorization of 4 is 2 and 2. Prime factorization of 6 is 2 and 3. And the prime factorization of 15 is 3 and 5. And you can see as I kind of lined that up, if there was something in common, I put it underneath if they matched up, and if they didn't. So I'm going to pull one factor out of each column. 2. There's a 2 here. Here's 3's, and there's a 5. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 5 is 20, and 20 times 3 again is 60. And it just so happens that this lowest, the least common multiple of 4, 6, and 15 also happens to be the lowest common multiple of 6 and 20. That happens sometimes. So the lowest common multiple of 4, 6, and 15 is 60.